Hey guys, okay, so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about follow-ups. Now, I'm going to explain how I do my follow-ups, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how you have to do your follow-ups. You can decide what works best for you. As a brand new coach, I would suggest trying my method. Maybe you talk to some other coaches on Team Boom or Team Liberate, try their method. You know, the more you do it, the more you're going to get a feel for what works for you, and you're going to kind of find your groove, and you're going to see what you ultimately want to go with in terms of a system. So something that's somewhat new to at least to the Beachbody world is a system called Asana. It's ASANA, and that is a free website that you can use to track your prospects. I would highly recommend going to YouTube. YouTube has a bajillion different free resources for professional and personal development for you. But specifically for follow-ups, I would definitely search Asana for Beachbody coaches. I don't have one in particular that I'm absolutely in love with. When I first started Asana, I went and I kind of just watched a few minutes of a couple different videos just to get an idea of how to use it. I'm sure there's lots of bells and whistles to Asana that I'm not utilizing, but I'm okay with that for now. I would suggest keeping it simple also, and just really setting up your account and getting started. And then you can the more comfortable you get with it, the more familiar you get with it, you can try to play around with it a little bit more. So my system is kind of twofold. I know Amy Reelman, because I'm redoing the video that she had done in Coach Basics. So I know that she does a system in terms of doing her follow-ups Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's what works for her. I prefer to do my follow-ups every day, at least Monday through Friday. I try to not work as much on the weekends, but I definitely check in. It just works for me. I like not getting behind in my follow-ups, but when I say that I do them every day, I do them every day from 3 days prior. So for example, today is Thursday. So in my inbox, I scroll all the way to the bottom and I work my way up through Monday. So like I shouldn't have any that are older than Monday if I have been keeping up with my follow-ups, but sometimes things happen. So then today I would do all my follow-ups from Monday because that was 3 days ago. I know in the script, I think it refers to more like a 48-hour period of a window in between messages. And you might find that works for you. I have just found that with my mom niche, I used to do 48 hours before I got pregnant, before I had the baby. But now with my mom niche, moms are just busy, man. Life is busy for moms. And so I was just finding when I was doing 48 hours that a lot of people were like, hey, I've just been so busy for X, Y, and Z reason. Hey, I saw your message, but I couldn't answer because X, Y, and Z reason. And so it just made the more sense to do them every 3 days versus every 2. So if you look in my inbox, I go all the way to the bottom for my follow-ups of Facebook Messenger, and I will have everything answered through Monday. So that when I'm done with my follow-ups tonight, my last follow-up, my last message at the bottom of my inbox will be the first message from Tuesday. So I like to keep my inbox nice and clean. So if I don't need their message anymore for whatever reason, I will delete it, but that rarely happens. Instead, what typically happens is I move that person's name over to my Asana, and I actually have, again, you'll find a system that works for you. I have 2 computers open at once. So I have my old computer that doesn't really run very fast, but I don't really need it to. Open on Asana, and that's just kind of where I collect my data and put in my names and the dates. And then I'm working on Messenger on my newer computer. So that way I don't have to go between tabs. But if you are using one computer, I would recommend having 2 tabs open, having your Facebook tab open, actually 3 tabs, a Facebook tab open, a Messenger for Facebook tab open, and your Asana tab. So you can go, quickly go from one to the other. So when I am doing my follow-ups from the bottom, if the last thing that we spoke about was that they're interested, but they need to wait until they get paid next Friday, well, then I'm going to take their name and I'm going to put it into my Asana if they're not already in my Asana. If they're already in my Asana, I'll just update the date till next Friday. And if they're not in yet, I'm going to put them in add the date, which whatever next Friday will be, and I'm going to write a little note to myself that says, very interested, needs to wait to get paid today. And so when that next Friday comes about and I log into Asana, I'm going to see that, Sally is ready to buy today. So when I'm doing that follow-up, today, I'm going to put her name into Asana, and then I'm going to archive our conversation just so it's out of the way. And again, it's keeping my inbox nice and clean. Then I'm going to go to the next message. And if the next message we left off in the middle of a conversation, I'm going to message her back. You really want to try to message people with a question, because then they're more compelled to write back. Whereas if you just said, hey girl, congrats on your baby. I hope everything is well. There's really nothing to write back to. They might just completely ignore you. But if you say like, hey Sarah, how are you? I just saw your announcement that you're pregnant. When are you due? She's more going to be compelled to write back, and then you're going to be able to, initiate that conversation and keep that conversation going. So then I would message her back, and then I wouldn't need to put her into my Asana because we're going to be having that conversation. I wouldn't have to change the date. If she's not already if it's a brand new friend that's added me or that has accepted my friend request, I always want to make sure everybody is in my Asana so I don't lose them, and that I have a date corresponded with them. But if we're going back and forth and I'm not ready to invite her or anything yet, then I don't need to put her into my Asana and to archive that conversation because we're going back and forth. I really archive the conversation and make sure they're into Asana if kind of the conversation is over for now, if that makes sense. Like if I'm talking to somebody back and forth and she says, yeah, I'm really interested, but I'm having my baby next month, reach out to me in 2 months. Then I'm going to archive that conversation because I'm probably not going to talk to her for a while. And I'm going to put her into my Asana. I'm going to put her into my Asana for like a month from now to kind of check in, because you don't want your very next message to be, talking about the challenge pack. You want your very next message to be, checking in, see how she's feeling. And then usually I'll check into them a week or two after they have the baby and just say, say hi, say I'm thinking about you. How's everybody, holding up? And then, so you're staying in contact with them before you're messaging them again about getting back on track and joining your group. I'm trying to think, follow-ups are necessary because they're what's going to move your business forward. So yeah, invites help move your business forward, but there's no point in inviting if you're not going to follow up. If people are not answering you, don't take it personally. I know this is much easier said than done, but there are so many different reasons why somebody may not have messaged you back. Think about how many times you get a notification and you're in the middle of a meeting at work. And so you open the message, but you obviously don't have time right then and there to write back. And then, the notification has turned off and you completely forget. You're on to the next thing and you completely forget to message them back. It's nothing personal. You just literally forgot. I know a lot of times I'll see a notification that I've gotten a message when I'm at like a stop sign or a red light. Obviously, I'm not going to answer back then. And then by the time, I can message them back, I've completely forgotten that I even had that message. As Beachbody coaches, we live in our inbox. Not all people even have the Messenger app on their phone. So, if they're not as invested in Facebook as we are, which a lot of people aren't, they might not even pay attention to their messages. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're annoying people if you follow up with them. Again, find a system that works for you. If you are in the middle of a conversation and you're talking to somebody and, you're trying to get to know them, you're trying, forming that relationship, asking them about their family, about occupation, about things they like to do for hobbies, what are they doing this weekend? Those are all great ways to kind of form that relationship. If you find that you're at a loss of what to talk to somebody about, something you can do, which is another reason why you want to have that Facebook tab open, is you can go to their wall and like and comment on a couple of their most recent posts and pick one thing to talk to them about. So maybe they have a post about their child's first day of school picture, they have a post about a funny meme, and they have a post about they went out to dinner with their husband on their date night. Like all of those things, maybe comment on one or two of them and then pick one and then go back to the conversation and say, hey, Sarah, I just saw that it was your daughter's first day of preschool yesterday. Oh my God, time flies. How did she do? How was her day? And just start that conversation. That's something I would relate to because my son just started school. And so then, she would talk about her experience with her daughter, and I could talk about my experience with my son. And, it's another thing that we can relate on. Another reason why she's going to see that I'm genuinely invested in, getting to know her and not just to sell her something. I think that's it. Oh, and then the last thing is, it's up to you in terms of, I know, again, everybody has a system. Some people choose when they do their follow-ups to go all the way through their inbox or their Asana and follow up with people and not answer back when people are messaging them back while they're still doing their follow-ups. Some people say, like, I'm not answering anybody back until I've gotten through my entire list. That's not what I do. I have a lot of contacts. Now that I do this full time, I have so many people on my Asana list. I couldn't possibly do that. So I do have 2 messenger tabs open at once. One tab is, going through the bottom of my inbox and working my way up to that, second day from today, because I'm working my way through my 3rd day from today. And then another message tab is open from the top, and so I can see the people who are starting to respond back. You just have to be really diligent about not getting totally sucked into one conversation. I'm pretty good about multitasking and kind of like talking to 2 people, talking to one person while I'm messaging one person and back and forth and back and forth. If that's not something you can do, then that might be a rule that you want to follow for yourself, at least at the beginning, to kind of work your way through all of your follow-ups before answering anybody back. But essentially, when I'm going through the 3rd day from today, so today is Thursday, if I'm going through Monday, I'm really just answering back those people, and then if necessary, making sure they're in my Asana and they have a follow-up date scheduled. If you have any questions, obviously comment below or shoot me a private message. I am more than happy to answer any of your questions that you have. All right. Thanks, guys.